Hello guys, welcome to my world of programming. My name is Tumitladi. So what's on agenda today? We are done with part 2 of best practice of a Xaml on login page. And at the same time, we're going to do validations on this page. Like what you see here. This is a validation. You see this? It says email is not valid and there's no password. And how do you achieve that? Right. So before we continue, may I kindly tell you about this YouTube channel? I know you're going to find it very helpful. It's a personal one where I was building identical docs using Xamarin, but some of the things are usable in Net Maui. And all the videos I'm currently making, they're uploaded on License Any Tips YouTube channel. There you can watch them uninterrupted. Right, and they're short and straight to the point. Right, so validations. So how do we achieve this? You know, I made a video about fluent validation for ASP.NET Core Web API. It can also be reusable on MVC, and I did make use of fluent validation on Xamarin Forms. You know, please go and watch the video there. But this time I said not to go for fluent validation. What I did instead, I went with the team decided to create. You see, we're gonna make use of the toolkit. It's a community toolkit for Maui. So it's a very powerful thing, right? So what the team did here, I'm gonna say content page.resource. These are the resources that are gonna be applied on this particular page, right? So then I'm gonna have a resource dictionary because I just want this to be only on this page. I know I can have them globally here on the app.xaml. I know I can have them there, but that it's for reusability. So instead I went to have this on the page specifically where I'm saying the style, the very first style, I'm gonna give it the key. Please watch the naming, the best practice. It is invalid entry for email, and I say this is style. So this is an invalid one for the control what entry for email, and this is style, and the target type is what the entry. And what I say, I'm gonna set a specific property of text color to be red. I'm also doing the same thing for invalid entry of password style. We are targeting the entry. Remember, this is an entry and this is an entry. Don't forget that, right? So they're both targetable, right? And the color is gonna be red, the text color. Then this is very interesting, right? How is it being triggered? You see, this toolkit has inverted bool converter, and the key is what? Invert email bool converter, and this one invert password bool converter. So this is how I name things, right? So I'm gonna focus on the email. So let's open the email. So remember, the first frame is this beautiful icon here. So we don't need this one. I need the second one. So this one, the frame is this part here, this control from here all the way there, right? So this is the entry. We covered this in the first part. For you, please go and watch part 1 of best practice in Xaml for login page. So we know that this is an entry. It's bindable to email, right? Because you can see with the placeholder. Then the entry, I'm gonna say borderless. You have behaviors, and behaviors is a list, as you can see, right? Inside, I'm gonna use this Maui community toolkit. So that one comes from this guy, right? The community toolkit for Maui. So what I say here is, listen, what we're gonna do, we're gonna access email validation behavior. Remember, it's a behavior. What is the behavior on this control? So this one is the email validation behavior. The flag is a very important one. I'm saying validate on unfocusing. This is focused because the cursor is there. You're going to validate this when I get out of there and click here, or even here, or click the button. Then you're gonna validate. So let me remove this guy. In fact, let me do this. Let me relaunch the app. Right, so you're gonna validate on unfocusing. It's what I decided because it works for me. And what is invalid style? Remember that one, invalid entry email style? Yes, I'm pointing to it, where it's going to set what the text color to be what? Red. And then here it's valid. Remember this is valid. It's going to have now there's a property on the view model called give me a second. There we go. So I'll show you in a second, but I want to finish this part. So there's a property that says is valid. I need this guy for the view model, because remember this is bound to the view model. This is where it's bound to the view model, right? So on the view model, I have that email, whatever the value is going to be stored there. But this one, we're going to check the state. Hey, whatever is there, is it really valid or not, right? It's going to be stored there because of I enforce the validation. The password, the value is going to come from there. It's going to be stored here. But here we're going to check it before we process it. The request further, is it valid? All right. So now you understand that, right? Then I have a beautiful layout, a beautiful label that says email is not valid. But check this. This one says the color is red, but it's visible. You see that it's only going to appear when that email state is true. If it's true, it's going to show, and then it's going to do what? Remember that invert email bool converter. So if this guy is false, it's gonna swap it, and this will become true. If whatever we are trying to validate when we are unfocusing, leaving that control, it's gonna be false, that means it's not valid. It's gonna swap that, it's gonna make true, and that true is gonna be email state it's true, right? Meaning that if it's true, then it's gonna be visible. Because if it's false, like now it's false, that means we are not getting, it's still true, meaning that we're not validating yet. This, even if I type now, we are not getting to a point where it's incorrect. But as soon as I leave and come to a password, it becomes false, and that false, it's been swapped. If it's false, it's going to become true. If it's true, it's going to become false. Then this guy, the email state becomes active, and then when it becomes active, then I show it. Does it make sense? Because then we're using the converters. That's the only way it can work. But let's go back to it. I'm still focusing on it, and I'm going to type do me add LHT, right? I'm just going to leave it there and come back. You see, it's still not valid. But if I go back and say .co.za, remember it's going to validate on unfocusing. If I remove the focus to password, it's now disappearing. Does it make sense? And now we are focusing on what? Password is not valid. If I go and check, you see the password is still not valid. But if I type 1 2 3 4 5 and I go to uncheck, you see it's still not valid. Okay, 6 7 8 9 10, well 0. I go back to check, it's still not valid, right? So this one, what does it want? We are still validate on unfocusing, but you see it says minimum 8 characters, right? And we're still gonna have that invalid style, and is valid to be password state. So minimum has to be 8, and the truth is it's 8. Yeah, I just had to remove. So this doesn't work, it doesn't trigger it. It needs you to move there, right? So, but if I remove few characters, come back here, it's now showing to say password is not valid. I would have said to take it further and say, is it 8? Instead, I just want to have that global minimum of 8 characters. Why is it 8? Because when you're creating the account on the website, you are forced to have a minimum of 8 characters. So I'm going in that direction. So this is a validation. It's a very, very powerful thing. If I just typing anything, doesn't matter, and then it disappears because it's using this inverted password bool to say if this is true, which is it's valid, then don't show, right? But if it's not valid, then show. I hope this makes sense, but I love it. I learned about it, read the documentation, and I fell in love with it. All right, I can teach you all of this for 25 Rand per session. We are meeting on Microsoft Teams any day from Monday to Friday. You tell me about the time, I look at my schedule, and I'll reply. I'm gonna leave my numbers, and please, if you know anyone who wants to learn all of this, just send them my way. I'll appreciate it. Thank you.